Hello, friends. This is Scott in my home office. I've had a kind of a up and down week this week with a little bit of the sniffles, and I don't think I have the dreaded vid, but no fever or anything like that. But I've got a little bit of cough and little sniffles. I've been fighting for the last week, so it's slowed down me on my garden progress, and you can definitely tell by the looks of what's going on in the garden that things are getting a little bit out of hand. End of the year is the time of the year that I kind of let everything go because I let the chickens out. It's the only time of the year that I let the chickens in the yard, generally because they just tear the crap out of everything. But I want them to tear the crap out of everything. I want them to go through and find all the bugs and grubs and weed seeds and spent plants and everything they can eat to their heart's content. I do the backdeed garden method in my backyard, which is wood chips or wood shavings everywhere. I don't have no grass. So if I had a little grassy area, I would just fence that in and let them out in the grass on a regular basis. But what I do is I have the chicken coop, and I have a nice yard for them, which I always add anything I pull out of the garden, any spent produce, any weeds, any grass clippings. I give them, fresh scratch every day, give them fresh straw, hay. So I give the chickens a great diet in their coop, but I generally do not let them out in the yard during the growing season because they will, one, eat your plants. They'll dig the plants up. They'll tear everything apart. So right now, I love it when my garden is totally perfect, as best it can be. When the bark is all nice, my flagstone pathways are all clear of bark and not messed up. But right now, that's not the case. A week ago, I was predicting a freeze, so I let the chickens out in the yard, and they've been out, letting kind of do their own thing for the last week. Have a couple hawks that I've got to watch because they've been visiting the yard, and the neighbors keep telling me, hey, there's a hawk, but so far they've been the smaller varieties that haven't taken on the chickens. So, no, haven't lost any chickens to any hawks yet, so hopefully that's the case. But I'm going to let them free range for a little while longer. I've got fortunately, we have a baby shower at our house. We're going to use the backyard next weekend, so I've got to clean everything up and spend a lot of time this week getting the yard back to shape. But today's video is kind of the good, bad, and the ugly of why you don't and what happens when you let chickens out in your yard when your garden's in production. So I hope you enjoy this video. I'm working on a longer video about the project garden that has to do with a lot of October pickings, harvesting that I've been doing. It's a longer video. I've got more to do, so I'll be putting that together and getting that to you guys shortly. But thought I'd do a quick video today on the impact of chickens, and they're the greatest thing. I would not have a garden without chickens anymore. I'm pretty convinced of that. But there is consequences, and they have a purpose. And right now, the purpose is for them to tear through everything, get all the bugs that they can get, all the spiders, all the slugs, snails. And they'll eat the good bugs too, but I want them to go after whatever they want. It makes great eggs, and it gives the chickens a lot of happiness and a lot of sunning, and they get to run the yard and do what they want to do. So, they poop on the sidewalks, they poop on the patios, and again, I've got a week to get this yard back in shape and get it all cleaned up from with all the leaves droppings and chicken droppings and just a mess. So this is the good, bad, and the ugly today. And it's mostly the ugly of what the yard looks like, but I'll get it back into shape here real quick. Bark is easy, just to either take a blower or take a rake and scoop it back, and you can just kind of get everything back. But I also want to get some more bark. I want to add to it because, again, the backdeeding is not a one-time thing. You always have to add covering to your soil. Again, the whole theory behind it is Mother Nature likes to be covered. It does not like bare soil. Bare soil is a detriment to the garden. We're all about covering the soil and building soil and making a better gardening environment without using a bunch of chemicals. So come on with me. Let's go take a look and see what the chickens have done to my yard in the last week, because it's not pretty. Here we're looking at where I planted the garlic in that bed. No sign of life yet, but as we start to see the carnage from the chickens, I'm coming down through my little urban orchard where the Asian pear is, and I had a lot of smaller Asian pears. I did not pick them all. I made a lot into dried fruit for the freezer, but I've given a lot to the chickens. And here comes the culprits. As you see, they like to get in under these trees, and there's tons of worms, and they have not been in here for a year, so there's bugs everywhere. So there's just goodness, garden goodness for these chickens to dig through, and again, to their heart's content. They love it. But when they see me coming, they know there's usually food or a back scratch. So they're definitely not afraid of me. There's one chicken, the white leghorn, you'll see, or I'm not sure if you'll see in this video, that is a little bit leery, but the other ones are always real friendly. But They're following me down to the coop. I'm just checking things out. But you see the raspberries to the left there as I'm going to the coop. And so the shadows in the yard, I'm going to run over to the compost bin area and kind of film backwards. And there's just a quick view of my in-ground compost bin that's just cinder blocks. And as I'm walking through here, the leaves of the maple tree have dropped, or most of them, so I've got a lot of work to do. But chickens love it. They're just digging through it. And the other day, you could see before the leaves dropped that all the dirt and where they've mixed the bark out, kicked the bark out into the paths. And again, I've got flagstone pathways all through here, but you're not going to know it. Here's the Egyptian walking onions. They're looking great. They put on the next generation. I've got some kale still. We've not had a freeze yet. There's rhubarb and some herbs, and here they come. Here come some chickens. They see me over here, so they're going to come check out what I'm doing. I've got a flock of 10 right now. And as I scan back down the yard, it's just a lot of dried sunflowers, a lot of leaves, a lot of weeds, just a mess. But as we have not frozen yet, I still have some other vegetables. As you see, there's some tomatoes here. My tomatoes did not like this area. I did not amend the soil enough. The trees' roots are all through this soil. So I didn't have many tomatoes here, but my project garden I had a ton, so I wasn't too worried about it. But here's a ripe one. I'll go ahead and there's still a couple left, and there's still not a freeze for the next few days, so I'll probably get a few more tomatoes. But just looking around at the culprits again, they're over here and following me around, seeing what I'm up to. And as we turn the corner to where you see all that dirt, well, there's the strawberry bed. I've got to redo all that, so I'm going to redo the strawberry bed because it's been about 3 years since I've done it, and some of it's died off, and the organic matter has been used up by all the trees. So, here's a broccoli. I still have some broccoli, so I can always grab a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But as you can see in these plants that the chickens have went through here, and that's where I had the potatoes, and that's all the potato amendment that I'm going to use, or the soil amendment I'm going to use elsewhere in the yard from the chicken compost. But I still have some brassicas and some cabbages and broccolis in here, and as you can see, the chickens I've let them go. And if I was still wanting to pick stuff from here, I would not have done that. As you see, they just decide that this is their favorite thing ever, and they'll just come through and just eat everything. Here, they've eaten a head of cabbage. They decided they're going to munch out, and so that was a head. It's now a half head. But as you'll see here in a minute, I believe, I'll show you, there's one that they missed. So I'm going to pick a good head of cabbage today, but that's a cauliflower, and there's the cabbage. It took a peek right there, and there's another culprit. That's my buff Orpington. He's wondering what I'm doing, or she's wondering what I'm doing. So looking for something good to jump down and whatever I uncover. But the bamboo's a mess. I've got to come through here and just clean all this up and rip all this stuff out. But since it hasn't frozen, I haven't been too excited about it. But again, I have a week to get this yard ready for this baby shower we're having. And there's the cabbage. And it's not a bad cabbage. I'm going to try to pop it here if I can. If I can get it broken without breaking anything else. But that's not a bad little cabbage for this time of the year. And the chickens missed it. And they have an eggplant even. A few eggplants and again, that's a Barnabuilder, as you see right there. And as I look through here, I'm going to show you some tomatillos that have yet to fully ripen up. So I've still got some produce that's coming on that I'm going to be able to harvest, it looks like. But again, lots of weeds and lots of noisy chickens today. But they're enjoying a beautiful fall day. Today's about as nice as it's going to get to, probably 65 degrees, and you can't ask for more than that. So as I glance back toward the chicken pen and run, I keep running into chickens. They're very comfortable in the yard. They spread out. They hang out together a lot, but a lot of times they're out doing their own thing. But here's my pole beans, and then I look back over the patio area where I have my fire pit, and the chickens are all coming thinking I'm going to give them some scratch, which I will here in a minute. But here's a quick look at what I picked today. Just a nice head of cabbage and a small ripe tomato. And there's other goodies that I need to get before the freeze. So here we are again, ending this video with a little bit more chicken TV. These chickens are all over the patio, making a mess, looking for bugs and seeds and pooping on everything. But again, this time of the year, I don't mind it. They're a great asset to the garden. They're such an integral part of what makes good gardening happen without a lot of chemicals. So they're your trash compactors, they're your fertilizer producers, they're your food production, They're your insect repellent removal. They do a little bit of everything, and I don't know what it would be like without them. Here I'm feeding the chickens some of the skins from the Asian pears that I peeled, that I dehydrated and put in the freezer. Asian pears have a very, they have a texture like an apple, but a very mild pear flavor, and it's a little bit watery. I like a little bit stronger fruit flavors. But when you dry them, those flavors condense, and I really enjoy the Asian pears dried. They're a great snack, and they're a healthy snack. They're instead of those candy bars, it's better just to grab some dried fruit. There's a Barnevelder in the back looking. He's got something stuck to his mouth there. Looks like he's got himself a problem. Yeah, he's got a feather stuck, and so I'll have to give him a little hand with that. We'll see what he does here. He's not a very good scratcher. Well, I hope you enjoyed this chicken video today, and understand that chickens are a great asset to the garden, but as you see here, they can be a detriment to your plants. This is a good view of them just munching out on my brassicas, and again, they hit and miss. They don't hit them all, but they, some that they'll strip down to nothing, and others they'll just pull a few leaves off of. But if you give them plenty, they won't tear everything up, but they're definitely enjoying life right now, and the eggs have been wonderful. We had eggs for breakfast this morning, and they were extra tasty. So it's always good. But as I garden all year long, I tend to run into a lot of slugs and snails, especially when you use bark. And these are my little slug and snail removers, doing it the natural way rather than using a bunch of chemicals. I hope you like this video, and if you want to follow my journey and living my best rural life in the city, please subscribe to my channel, like, share, and comment, as I'd love to hear from you. And I'm trying to build the channel. I'm getting my pretty good library going. I think this is video 46 or 47. I got to double check that. But I'm headed for 100, and I'm heading for getting those 1,000 subscribers, which I'm a long ways off. But I'm getting a lot of views, so I'm encouraged. Hey, thanks for your support and watching this video today. Have a great day.